no, talk about the Smash Brothers. Like, I gotta know about it. What up, kids and squids? Welcome to the Nintendo Everything Podcast, Episode 6. I'm your host for this week, Oni Dino, and I'm joined by my lovely cohort, Eric Zouch.
Hello everyone, with Oni hosting this week, today I will be the assist trophy.
Oh, it's perfect. I love that.
I had to kind of jump on that the Smash hype bandwagon, which I don't think either of us have had much of a chance to play yet, but I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah, so it just came out, right? I've barely done anything in that. With that mentioned, like, let's just jump right into the adventure log because we've got a lot of news to cover and a lot of stuff going on. I did not write another 10 questions for you to answer like our last 2 episodes, so let's just jump right into our adventure log and see what we've been playing for this week. You want to take it away, Eric?
Yeah, I can take it away here. I have been playing this week a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders 2 demo. Now, the demo is actually up on the Japanese eShop, so unless you have a Japanese account, which is actually really easy to make, so you should totally make one if you haven't. You should make an account in just about every region. But if you haven't, make a Japanese account, download the demo, and I feel like you can kind of fumble your way through this one. I fumbled my way through most of the... I feel like about halfway through the demo, because if it's anything like the first demo, they're actually a really, really big demo. Like they're a meaty chunk of content there for you to kind of dive in and explore and really get a good feel for what the game's going to be like. And after playing the first game, I was like, I definitely have to try this demo because I was in love with the first game. It felt like, I think I've talked about this before, maybe not on this podcast, but I love Minecraft. Minecraft was one of those games for me that it was such a community atmosphere and I really got into because of that. And this game is kind of a complete separation from that and it feels totally different, even though it has the same aesthetic and the same kind of, you're playing with blocks, things going for it. This feels very much like an RPG compared to playing like an MMO. And yeah, so Dragon Quest Builder 2 demo came out. I downloaded it, I played it, and I guess there's a whole bunch of new changes here that have just improved from the last game in so many big ways that I'm kind of blown away at how many big changes they actually managed to include into this game. It's like they kind of just read through reviews and went, all right, here's all the big problems that people had with reviews. Not that there were many big problems, but here's all the ones that we could find, and let's just fix all them. And then let's just throw a whole bunch of extra features in there as well. Like, just why not?
Oh, that's fascinating. I love to hear like a sequel that ends up nailing that approach.
Yeah, like, and it'd be interesting to see with the reviews where they kind of focus in on this point, because I feel like the initial run of reviews very much focused on some of the mechanics and maybe things that they were missing throughout the game in that way, where I feel like this now Dragon Quest Builders 2 demo, when the reviews start popping up for this, and when it does eventually come over here, I think it's been announced to be coming here, but it's not actually given a date yet. Or it might have been next year. I don't know. I'd have to fact check that. But yeah, when the reviews eventually kind of start popping up, I'd just like to see where they kind of target now, because obviously there's always going to be stuff to target, and there's stuff that's going to be like, maybe they didn't nail this part where they could have. But it's no longer going to be the mechanics of the game. It's going to be more like the what's the timing of the story and how all that kind of revolves around it, and just more intricacies. So I'm kind of interested to see where they go with that. But I do want to jump through just some of the things that have stood out to me here that they've really put major improvements on. So, like, the first thing here is the menus have been like greatly improved. This is a weird thing to say considering they're like completely in Japanese. But
That's
like,
true, yeah.
I'm just fumbling my way through it. But like just opening the menus up and having like your inventory and your character screen all in the same kind of build. Or the same area, it's so much better rather than going like, here's your equipment and then here's your character and here's your bag. It's like they've really refined that down to be much better. Weapon swapping is now much easier, and so like swapping your weapons is like you can just do it from your main bar, and then they've actually given you like 2 different slots for your weapons. So one can be like your main attack, and then one could be like a pair of gloves, which is another thing they've added, which is just fantastic. So in the old game, if you wanted to pick something up and put it somewhere else, it meant actually destroying what you've picked up to place the block or whatever somewhere else. Where in this game,
right.
Yeah, like it's kind of archaic in that way. But yeah, this game is just there's a gloves that you can equip so that simply one of your buttons can just pick up things and put them back down. And a quick pro tip here: if you get stuck in the early parts of the demo, you start on a big boat. If you get stuck on that, the part that I got stuck on, whether there were these barrels that you had to pick up and place next to a character. So as soon as you kind of get these gloves, you get a quest to do that, and that is definitely one of the points where like you're not going to know what to do unless you kind of pick up. Hold on, there's barrels sitting next to this guy on a mat, and there's barrels scattered around the boat. That's what I've got to do.
Oh, okay. Is that because of the language barrier for you?
Definitely, because obviously I'm not understanding what the quest text does. Some of the later quests get a lot better, as in like they will show you more as an indication of what to do. So they'll give you like a little icon to show like, oh, there's a sleep icon here. Obviously, I've got to go lay on the bed, or there's like a campfire. I've obviously got to make a campfire. So you get them, but some of them are a little bit more side questy, and so like they're just text, and you'll be like, oh, what am I actually supposed to be doing here? But if you pay attention to where you got the quest from and just some of the little kind of things around there, like I said with the barrels, you kind of go, oh, obviously this is what I've got to do. And that's what I mean. Like the demo, you're definitely going to be able to fumble your way through, even though you're not going to be understanding everything that's going on. It's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. Some of the other cool new things is the water physics. They've added water physics, and this is a bit different because it doesn't act the exact same way of Minecraft. So like you can have like in the early parts again when you're on the boat, part of the hull breaks and water starts flowing in. Now normally in water in Minecraft when it's flowing, if you're standing in it, we're pushing you back. This just acts as water, so you're standing in water, but it's not actually giving you any type of movement. It's just like you're standing in water, your movement's slowed a little bit if you want to move forward. And then like you can also, of course, go underwater now, which makes a big difference. It uses a stamina bar, and so you can only be underwater for a certain amount of time. But that's just a really cool thing that you don't just drown instantly after jumping off an edge, although there are edges that you can jump off, and there's just a big bottomless pit that you'll continue to go down. So it's not like you can just go anywhere underwater. And I'm going to keep jumping through some more things here because there's some other big things that really stood out to me, even though I feel like I'm just listing everything off here.
No, actually, I'm loving this because I played the demo of the first game back when that came out, almost a year ago, I want to say. And I really, really liked it, but I didn't end up picking it up. So now to hear that the second one is kind of refining things and improving things, I'm like, oh, Eric's wearing me down. Like, I know I'm gonna end up picking this game up. So yeah, keep going with it.
Oh, I hope you do, because like they've done so much, and like another one of those things is crafting certain amount of items. It sounds like a small thing, but it's definitely something that like the reviewers picked up on in the first place. That when you wanted to craft items, you could only craft one or all of your items. It seems madness not to have like an option in between that. Well, now it's, like I don't understand it. Well, now obviously you can just craft 1, 2, 3, 4. You just all have them in one at a time, and it will just kind of set that up and do it for you, which is it's a super big thing. Weird things. First person mode is kind of cool. I like the perspective in a way. It's not something I play the whole game as. I think maybe I can't tell if it's because I played the previous game in third person that I'm just so used to that. But it works, and I'm surprised how well the first person mode works. When you play in that mode, that's when I'd sit there. I went into that mode. I looked over a cliff, and I went, "Oh wow, okay, I can feel the Minecraft coming out of it now." They also added a snapshot mode. So this is where like Mario Odyssey type snapshot mode. You can just basically take snapshots of yourself. They have something that I don't quite understand because of the language barrier, but they have their own social media hub basically where it looks like you can vote on other people's photos, see everyone else's screenshots and stuff that they're doing, and it seems something cool, but because of the language barrier, it's not something that I could really get into. It's something I just flick through there. Building in rows is also something that's really cool. So like in the previous game, and like this is another one of the things is like reviewers in the original game would have picked up on this and gone, oh, well, building up in blocks is just really annoying. You can build too high and then it starts to get a bit of a pain. In this one, what actually happens is that when you build blocks, so it's hard to explain, but if I was facing a block and I placed a block there, if I continued to press the build button or the place block button, it will continue to build them out in a row. So whether it be if I'm facing the ground and hit the button, it'll keep building up, or if I'm facing the wall and press the button, it'll keep building out from that wall. Which makes a huge difference for building. Nice. Oh, it's a massive difference. Just for building like straight walls or platforms or anything like that. Like it's one of those things where it's like, well, where does this game do a better job than Minecraft in some ways of some stuff? And like obviously the story side of it is a part where it does like a really good job. But the building side of it is actually something where it seems to be overtaking Minecraft now and saying, you know what, here's these quality of life features that just make such a big difference and really make the game kind of a lot better for what it is. last things here that I'll quickly go through is it's got it feels like it's got a larger draw distance. I haven't gone for a one-to-one comparison to see where the draw distance goes with this, but the draw distance feels like it's longer, and it's helping. Like this map actually feels really big and expansive now, like looking over it. And so I'm kind of decided to see whether they got, like, the last maps were big, but they also felt slightly linear in a big way. It's hard to explain, but this one definitely, this one definitely feels like there is a massive landscape out there to explore. And so, I haven't finished the demo, so I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how far I can kind of go out there. But right now, I'm just kind of in awe at how much this game is kind of offering me, and how much new stuff there is here to kind of, I don't know, pick up in the end. And yeah, I'm super looking forward to this one. It's definitely one that I could keep my eyes on, and I'm hoping to kind of just do some more content in the future around this, because I'm just so excited about this game.
Very cool. So, you've been playing just this demo alone. How long have you been playing the demo?
Oh, well, it's probably been like maybe just over an hour and a half at the moment, or maybe about an hour and a half. The original, if I remember the original one, it was like about a 3-4 hour demo. If you were just kind of doing your main thing, you could, if you like messed around for a little bit longer, you might be able to expand it out a little bit. And if you rush through to the end, I mean, you could probably get through to the end just jumping through the quest in probably an hour and a half.
That's really awesome. That's like so much content for just a demo, because oftentimes a demo will be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Sometimes it's like not enough, or it's like too streamlined and you're like, I don't know, I don't get a feel for this game. Or like I started in, like, say chapter 3, and that's where they started me at, and it's like I don't know what's going on. Like the World of Final Fantasy demo on the PS4 that I told you about, I did not like that because it did something like that. So it's really cool that this demo really is like, no, get in there, get in the world, and like, here's your basics, and if you experience this demo, you are going to know what the rest of the game is going to be about. So it sounds like it's a really good demo, actually.
Demos are one of those things that's really hard to kind of, like, in some ways to get right, but sometimes the best way to do it is just to say, we'll build a really good start of the game first of all, and then just throw the character into the start of the game. And that's what this game kind of does. It just says, like, it could have just thrown you on this ship, because the ship is that kind of opening area, and had it in there, and you would have had no idea what the actual game is like in the end. You just would have got this kind of condensed version of you on a ship running a few errands. But they don't just do that. They go the long haul and say, no, we're going to let you now get to the first island, start building your first base, start doing your first main quest on this island, and actually explore a big island and get a real feel for the game. And so I love demos. So it's one of those things that, like, I just love being able to try a game before I buy it. And so when I get an opportunity like this to try a game that I know I'm going to like before I buy it, I really kind of just dive deep into them.
Oh yeah, I totally know what you mean. I'm the same way now. You made a a post on Twitter like not that long ago, where you were like, oh, when we were younger, we used to like look at the box art of the video game, and if we liked it, we bought it. And now it's like, oh, well, I need to see gameplay, and I need to play a demo and all that stuff. And that's so true. That's so true of modern gaming versus, I don't know, gaming 20 years ago.
Oh, so it's me now so much. Like, whenever I don't know how I've changed as much as a person, but like 20 years ago, it used to just be, like you said, would walk into a store, I would look at the literal tiny little JPEGs on the back of a box and try and work out what's going on. And most of the time, I was being lied to in the first place about what was on the back of there. And then I'm reading the text, which is just pure hyperbole, trying to hyperbole. That is not a word for that.
I wasn't gonna say anything. You called yourself out.
Pure hyperbole, and just trying to talk it up as much as they possibly can. You know, this adventure is this massive epic scale in a world that you've never seen before, and we just bought a game on that. And then the only bit of art you got was on the front, which was probably even more deceiving than what's on the back.
Oh yeah, box art is so wild during, like, say, the NES and the SNES era in particular, for like Western box art, because it was so often not indicative of what the game was or representative of the game at all. So like Ninja Gaiden is one of those, not Ninja Gaiden, Strider Hiryu is one of those very prominent ones, where the Sega box art looked like absolute garbage for the West, and it was not representative of the game at all.
And yeah, and so then now, like, if we jump forward, all of a sudden I need to watch the trailer, and then if I'm interested in the trailer, I then need to go watch some gameplay, and then like eventually when the game comes out, I need to like go view my 6 different reviews to see what these other people all think of it, and then like by the time the game comes out, like I need to know all this kind of background stuff to a game, and like it really just stood out to me when I was flipping through the eShop and I get a game that just has screenshots. I'm like, oh my god, seriously, you expect me to buy a game off screenshots? And then like I realized I used to do that.
Yeah, totally, right? I feel the same way. I was thinking the same thing, like completely separate of you, about the screenshots. I was like, there's no video? What? Like how do you expect me to spend 500 yen on your game just because it only has screenshots? Like that's not enough for my 500 yen. I work hard for that money.
Anyway, point is that I'm surely not the only person who reads hyperbole as hyperbole.
Yeah. Or what's the other one that people say a lot? They say it wrong. Oh God, what is it?
You've definitely lost me on this one.
Sorry, not quintessential, but there's another word that means like epitome. People read it as epitome all the time.
Oh, yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I just want to like reach through the freaking computer screen and slap people when I hear that.
Unfortunately, I'll probably be one of those people. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard it yet, so your face is currently unscathed. So what is not unscathed is all of the enemies that I've been slaying in the game that I've been playing this past week. That is coincidentally another Dragon Quest game. I've been playing Dragon Quest Heroes 2 on the Switch. Now, this is a game that came out at the Switch launch in Japan only, though. Never ended up going west. So anyway, I picked it up, and it's a bundle of the first game and the second game. So I'm only playing the second game here, all right?
Have you played the first one?
No, I had not. Not at all.
Okay. I played it on PS3, but I'm so jealous that this bundle came out over there. But go on.
So, I was not expecting anything. All I knew is that it was a Warriors title with Dragon Quest. I like both those things, so just, throw me in there. I'm all for it. I started playing and I was like, this is totally different than like your standard Warriors spin-off or Warriors inspired game. I couldn't believe that it was so different, because a lot of Warriors games like Hyrule Warriors or Fire Emblem Warriors, both games I really, really like. They're very similar to Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors, where it's mission-based, and there's little bits of variation on there, but Dragon Quest Heroes is totally different. It feels way more like an actual RPG. You run around in big open areas. There are some mission-based things, but they're a little bit slower paced, and it feels really good and feels really nice if you're a person that likes to take their time with video games, which that's totally me.
I feel like that's really, really good for the Warriors franchise, kind of, I don't know, a sub part of it as well, because a lot to do with, like we were mentioning with the Warriors franchises and the way they're all very similar, is that a lot of it is rushing between areas you got to get stuff done as fast as possible if you want to get that good rank, or if you don't want your base to be wiped out or lose bases in the end. It's always go next area. We're slowing things down and turning it into a bit more of an RPG. It works well.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I wish that more Warriors spin-off games would go outside of the formula more often, like this game did, because I think that they really nailed it. This is a really great game. I'm not that far into it. I don't know, been like maybe 12 or 13 stages or something like that.
Yep.
It seems like it's pretty long, and I just went through a couple of mission-based things, and then now I'm back to my hub town, and then I can wander outside of the town just like any other action RPG these days, and it feels really nice. I just really like it. Something I definitely wanted to mention, though, is that, so if you were interested in this game and you're like, oh, is this coming west, back then, you probably know that the technical performance is not great on the Switch. There was a Digital Foundry episode on YouTube that featured the demo from the Switch during launch with the PlayStation 4 version, and the comparisons and the footage that they captured were not great. So there have been a couple of maybe 3 patches since launch on the actual game, not the.
So what's it like now then?
So it is better, but it is still not perfect. So it aims at 30 frames per second. It hits that a lot, but then there are times where it dips. At no point was I ever like, this is unplayable or whatever. I just noticed the dips and I was like, that sucks. So it ranges from like fine to good. And in my opinion, that's a good range. I would of course like to see a stable 30. I would ideally like to see an option like in Fire Emblem Warriors where they're like, oh, do you want performance or do you want the visuals, that kind of thing. That's ideal for sure, but they don't have that. So anyway, my recommendation is if you have a PS4, play it on the PS4. That version's better in terms of performance. The same stuff as on the Switch. If you for some reason can only get the Switch version and you live in Japan or something, I don't know, like it's weird. Like no one is actually going to be getting this game, so I don't know why I'm talking about it so much. It's really fun though, and it's such a shame that it was not supported better after launch, or it was not given enough time in the porting process to like properly port it over. I feel like they did a lot of drag and drop kind of situation on the Switch back when the hardware was not as familiar to the developers. Which is a damn shame because it's a really fun game. So if you get a chance to play it, whether it's the Switch or the PS4, totally play it. Totally play it.
So do you, the playing on the Switch isn't like, obviously this is one of those things that like personal opinions always change so much depending, like you'll have some person that's completely unplayable and some person's like, I didn't even notice the difference. But to you, like this is playable. It's not perfect, but it's playable.
Absolutely. At no point did I think it was unplayable. If anybody says it's unplayable, they're speaking with hyperbole.
Oh, this is going to become a theme now.
You did it to yourself. Yeah, like honestly, there are dips, but there's not like any time where it's like, you know, judder, and like you don't know what you're hitting or anything like that. Like at least in my experience of playing this game for, I don't know, 4 hours maybe. So yeah, that's my take. That's my hot take on hyperbole.
I'm still looking forward to this coming out one day ever.
So, coincidentally, with both of us playing 2 totally different Dragon Quest games on the Switch, there was a little bit of news. And I want to use that as our segue into the news for the upcoming Dragon Quest XI-S on the Nintendo Switch.
This is a really weird week because like it's been Smash Brothers week to us and like or to everyone, and all of a sudden like we started the episodes with 2 different Dragon Quest games and then a bit of Dragon Quest news. I don't know what we're doing here, Oni.
Oh, I know, right? Like people are sitting there and they're like, "No, talk about the Smash Brothers." Like I gotta know about it. So, just before we jump into all of the VGA news and all the Smash Bros news and like all this good stuff that's coming up, I just want to sort of get this little guy out the way. That's important, but you know, gotta get out of the way. Give it its due time. So Square Enix, they confirmed a stage show for Dragon Quest XI-S at Jump Festa 2019. It's going to be held on December 22nd, and so it's basically an announcement of an announcement for a presentation. Sounds good, right?
Yeah, these are my favorite type of announcements. Like, so what do you actually think that we see out of something like this? I mean, if they're announcing something, there's got to be some sort of detail here. Is it just going to be a release date, or do you reckon there's going to be like more information coming out of this than we expect?
I don't know. Like they've been talking about this game for so many years already on the Switch, back when it was already known or only known as the NX. So like, I just don't know why we don't know like anything about it. Other than they have had this thing on the back burner for so long and it like wasn't being worked on until this year or something like that. I don't even friggin' know. It doesn't make any sense. My cat just jumped down again. There's another catastrophe.
Hello, cat.
So I don't know. I don't even want to guess because like, I mean, okay, it is not unlike Square to announce a presentation in order to cancel a video game, right? They did that with Final Fantasy 15 Season 2 DLC, so like maybe they're going to cancel the whole damn game, you know? So I don't even know, but it's supposed to be substantial, so we'll see. Check it out, December 22nd, you know? That's all I really have to say about it.
Yeah, it's got to be something. I mean, all I've really got to say is like, I hope first of all there's some sort of, you know, features or something that they're going to talk about within this. Like,
yeah,
something I doubt it, but you know what would be cool is like if they kind of stepped on the foot of the 3DS and said, you know what, the 3DS version of Dragon Quest XI, we're going to throw that in with the Switch version, so you get both.
My God, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I've been waiting to hear what's going on with the Switch, because if they're going to do something like that, then that's what I'm getting. If not, I'm getting the 3DS version because that version appeals to me more. As much as I think that the Unreal Engine PS4 one looks quite nice, and I do like it, I just love that aesthetic that they did with the 3DS. That's my jam. So hopefully they do something like that with the Switch. I would really like that.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, the thing that I'm kind of also hoping for if they do something like that is that they bring back the liquid metal slime and maybe put that into the Switch console for the collector's edition. For those for those who don't know what that was, they did a liquid metal slime 3DS console, and I wish they did a collector's edition of the Switch console with a liquid metal slime as well because they had like the raised slime face kind of coming out of it. It was really cool.
Oh yeah, I think I saw the PS4 version of that, and it looked super nice.
Did they do a PS4? I did not know that. That's cool. I would definitely would have got one of them.
I mean, unless I dreamt it, maybe I'm insane. Let me know. Send an email too if I am insane. So we'll see what's going on. They've been treating this game like a red-headed stepchild. So I don't know if we're asking for way too much. I think we'll be lucky if it's just like a plain port from the PS4 and it runs somewhat stable. I think we're going to be lucky if that happens.
We're always asking for way too much when it comes to anything Square Enix, so...
Yeah, I'm going to set my expectations low, expect less, and still be disappointed. So something I am not disappointed about and rolling right into the VGA awards, well, that's like saying ATM machine. Video Game Awards. There we go. Rolling right into that is a brand new game that was announced at the pre-show for the VGAs. That is Sayonara Wild Hearts, or Sayonara Wild Hearts for the Nintendo Switch. It's some sort of Nintendo Switch exclusive being made by a indie developer called Simogo. It is a self-titled pop album video game, and this thing looks absolutely nuts. There's a trailer for it, like a reveal trailer on YouTube. If you have not seen this, go check it out. It's got all these crazy colors and beautiful presentation. It's a rhythm game for sure, and the music is just EDM nonsense, and I love it. It's glittery trash. Have you seen this, Eric?
Yeah, this to me it looked really cool. I'm a big fan of that art style, the way it's looking. If you kind of haven't actually seen it, but you're wondering what the art style looks like, the easiest way to describe it, and this is probably a lot of people are going to get this, but there was a game that came out not that long ago called FE. I'm not calling Sharp FE or whatever. What was that other game that came out? Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. Okay, that game, I love it so much. If you say anything terrible about it, I will fly over to Australia.
No, I love that game too. I'm definitely not going to say anything bad about that. But the game that I'm referencing is a game that came out quite recently called just FE. I think it was made by, was it an EA original or something like that?
Oh, yeah, EA published it. I forgot who, it was an indie game, but it was published by EA for some reason.
That's right. Yeah. So that game that came out recently is this very kind of, just as far as the color tones go, it's very kind of purple and lots of popping light and stuff like that. And so I feel like if you were to look at these two side by side, you get that kind of same atmosphere. But then when you go into this game, because of the music and the EDM nature of it, it's much more a rhythmic bass and there's a lot more popping lights and stuff like that. And so like it obviously doesn't look the same in far as terms in the way that the gameplay is going to make it look, but as far as the art style and the color palette that they're going with here, I feel like they're going with something very similar to that. Is it confirmed to even be a rhythm game? Because that's what it looks like, but I just can't tell like whether that's what this is, some sort of rhythm game where you're going to be pressing buttons along to the beat, or is it going to be more of just like this is a combat game where you're on top of bikes and riding reindeer or whatever else is going on.
Yeah, so I want to say I read a press blurb that said something about it being a rhythm game, but now you're making me double guess myself, so maybe I didn't read that, but I want to say I did. It's definitely heavily music influenced, so whether or not it's a rhythm game, music is somehow going to play a big factor in it. It looks like there's all these like music or like dance gangs that are going to fight each other, but like fight each other in all these fantastical ways. So like you said, there's people on freaking motorcycles, you're riding on top of like beasts, and there's like a Cerberus looking enemy that you're fighting.
Yes.
There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on. On this topic, I actually don't know what the gameplay exactly is. They've showed gameplay, but I still don't know exactly what's going on with it, but I know I need it. I live in this kind of sequined, encrusted trash. That's where I was born in.
So if they showed gameplay in this, then it must be one of the only trailers that I watched at the event that actually showed gameplay, because most of the others seem to be like sizzle reels, hype trailer type things.
Oh, I know. That was a big complaint of mine on the Game Awards. I mean, that's a complaint of mine about modern gaming in general, but Yes, let's not bring it down yet. Like, I do want to mention one more thing about this awesome looking trailer. There is like some Sailor Moon style henshin transformation scenes going on where like who I think is your main character called the Fool, she transforms into like her like superhero costume, and it's totally like Sailor Moon, and I was like, yes! I totally lost my mind when that happened. I was like screaming. I was like, just give it to me. Give me this moon tiara prism makeup magic whatever it's called. Like, it's so me. It's just me.
I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch this trailer now because like that glossed past me, and that's definitely not something that should have just like passed my radar somehow. I would have thought I would have noticed something like that. The other thing, the last thing I want to mention about it is that I meant to do a little bit of a history check on the developer, because then they have developed other games before, and that might give me a bit of an indication as to where they're going with the direction of this type of game. But unfortunately, I did not do my history check before the podcast, so I can't expand on that thought at all.
I got you covered, bro, because I looked into him just before we started.
Oh, you were there for me.
Yes. So Simogo is the developer, and the publisher is Annapurna. Annapurna, I believe, is a UK-based publisher. They publish a lot of very flashy and artistic-looking games. They actually are publishing another game that is by the same developers of Abzu, which is a game that came to Switch recently.
Oh, yeah.
The new game that they're going to be publishing, I think, is called The Pathless. And that comes out on PS4, and that game looks really cool. So maybe it'll come to Switch in the future because Abzu came to the Switch, same developer, yada yada. But anyway, the developer of this game, Sayonara Wild Hearts, is Simogo, and they've made a lot of games on mobile chipsets, so like for phones and whatnot. They made one game of particular note to all of our interests. They made Year Walk on the Wii U, which was like a remade version of their phone game. And Year Walk is a like insanely creepy, dreadful suspense puzzle game with like horror elements. And I loved that game. That game was top notch as far as presentation went. I was engrossed into that game. I looked a little bit into what else they got going on like their Wikipedia. They get nominated all the damn time for every single game that they bring out, basically, in the visual audio presentation department. And they win a lot of those awards too. So, I mean, I think we can really count on them having a great visual and tight audio presentation with the new game Sayonara Wild Hearts.
Interesting. I did not know that, but that does make me all the more excited to kind of see what they're gonna present with this.
Absolutely. I have really good faith in them based on their past records. So we're just gonna keep watching this. I'm riding that hype train. I'm shoveling the coal. Like, I'm there. I'm all there.
So I suppose we should say sayonara to Wild Hearts and move on to our next bit of news.
So yeah, I wanted to do like a little bit of a quick sizzle reel sort of some of the Switch announcements that happened at the VGAs. So we're just gonna go down here a couple of different things, and then we'll talk about like the meatier things so we can really get discussing on those things. So let's start it off right now with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled coming to Nintendo Switch. That's a really
it's an awkward title to kind of word out of your mouth, but so the game itself, like I'm kind of excited to play Crash Team Racing. It's one of those Crash and Spyro have just been one of those kind of, maybe it's because I was the right age when they came out, but they captured me as a child, and so like having them come back it definitely has me excited, and you can kind of see that there must be a lot of other people that feel that way in the fact that when the was it the original Crash trilogy came out on PS4, it just sold incredibly well. And so obviously there's a lot of other people out there who feel the same. I don't know if there's a lot of other Nintendo fans who had that kind of same experience, but I didn't even have a PlayStation 1 or 2 growing up. And yet, like, just living it through friends, these are definitely the type of games that I still have nostalgia for just by going around and playing it at friends' houses.
Oh, that's interesting. On that note, I think that I did hear, and correct me if I'm wrong, commenters, listeners, the Crash Trilogy remake thing on Nintendo Switch, I believe that it did sell quite well. So okay. I think that this is why they're bringing this game over to Switch as well. Yeah,
that would totally make sense. It is the type of game that, like, I just feel like there is this untapped nostalgia out there it's kind of getting to the period where it can come back around now. Like, for a long time, people recognise, and I guess they kind of still recognise it as the original Crashes as not the best mechanically games, but sometimes games that have to hold up mechanically to be looked at nostalgically. And like, I mean, look no further than my love of Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yeah, that's a game that plays by its own rules, and you're going to play by those rules too. You don't get to control it. The game controls it.
Oh, exactly. The game hates you, but yeah.
So just to tidy this up, the Crash game, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, which is one too many words, is a remake and expansion of the original game from PlayStation, and it's going to have some extra carts, extra courses, online play, all that good stuff. So we'll see how that goes in the near future. I don't know when it's coming out. I didn't even look that up, but it's coming out sometime.
I think it might have said 2019 on there, although I can't be certain.
Oh, what a wonderful guess.
I know. I'm good at this. I feel like this is my field, is predictions like that.
Yes, I feel it was made by humans, I believe. So next game that was announced for the Switch is Stranger Things 3, the game. So I guess this is hot off the heels of the popularity of Stranger Things? I don't know.
So go a little bit deeper on me. What is Stranger Things? I don't know what this is, Stranger Things. I've heard of it, but I don't know it.
Sure, yeah, I'll give a little brief on this. Stranger Things is a Netflix series. I don't know how many countries it's available in, but I assume many, considering it's a Netflix original series. And I guess they're making a third season, or maybe it's already out. I really don't know. And then they're making a game that's going to sort of parallel those events, or I don't know if the video game is season 3. I really don't know, because I watched the first season and I loved the first half of it. Absolutely loved it. I was so stuck in. But then the second half of season 1, I was like, oh, this kind of got flaccid. I didn't like it. I wasn't interested in season 2, which came out recently, and I don't know if they're making a season 3. I don't know what's going on, but this is like a pixel game, so it's going on all the different consoles. So
yeah, just we'll just quickly gloss over it, but to redeem my kind of uninformed opinion there, I do remember this now, because I remember watching this. It obviously didn't make much of an impression on me, but I remember watching this, and Nat was beside me, and she recognised the writing. She goes, that looks like Stranger Things writing. So obviously she has some sort of recognition of it. And then and then it jumped into the gameplay. The gameplay looks kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly what the gameplay is from this.
Yeah, it looks like survival isometrical, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. But like, I would be interested if they pull off something with the gameplay. If they're just doing some sort of tie into the show and haven't really gone for anything unique or inspired here, then probably not going to be something that I'm particularly interested, just because I'm not interested in the show. But if they can pull off something else here, then yeah, we'll see what happens.
So another one that we'll gloss over is the online action RPG Dauntless is coming to Nintendo Switch, apparently. It is a free-to-play monster hunting game. So take that for what you will, monster hunting game. I think it's been out on the PC for several months now, and from the little that I searched about it, it sounds like it's pretty decent. At the Game Awards, they just showed one of those cinematic trailers that didn't show gameplay or anything, so I didn't really watch it. I was like, whatever, like, it doesn't matter. Speaking of doesn't matter, there was some Fortnite stuff that was announced. I don't know, I don't care. Then there was the very exciting announcement. No, shut up. I don't care. I won't be pulled into Fortnite, all right? I tried it out. It doesn't feel good to me. It's fine. I'm not that young anymore. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I feel like I have to defend some of the people who play Fortnite out there, because I think the game's cool. I enjoy it.
I'm not, getting down on people who play Fortnite. I'm just saying.
Oh, you hate people who play Fortnite. Let's admit it here.
That's not wrong.
This seems exciting, a new kind of content. There's always these big kind of drops happening for Fortnite, and they've done a really good job of having this kind of constant stream of content coming through. Unfortunately, the game, it's this type of game you need a good group of friends to kind of get into. I feel like it's definitely one of those type of games. Obviously, there's people who are going to get into it regardless, but for me, it was a community game, and so while I had friends that I was playing it with, I was so into this game. But then as soon as my friends. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But as soon as the friends kind of drop, it's because it's the atmosphere. You're squadding up. You're jumping around as a squad, just doing silly things, trying to do the best you can, but not really, because all you're there is to have fun and chat with your friends. But then as soon as the friends kind of dropped off, I was kind of like, oh wow, okay, the gameplay is not really hooking me anymore, and so that's when I kind of dropped off as well. But I still kind of see these new announcements. I'm like, oh, I'd like to try that again. But it's the same type of thing with World of Warcraft, where it's while I was playing World of Warcraft, I was so into it, and like I see these new contents come out, I'm like, oh, that looks really good, and I'm like, hold on a second, I've tried getting back into this by myself, and it doesn't work.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say that sounded to me a lot like my friends who play MMOs, specifically Warcraft, how they have fun with the game, where it's like, oh, just do all this silly stuff all the time, and like let's fight a little bit, and we'll run around together, and like, oh, look, I'm up here, I'm flying around, like that's just sounds like what is the true fun of games like that.
Yeah, they're definitely a community game. I guess that's what they're built around.
Again, I want to say like I heard that Fortnite was good, and like I've heard lots of good praise on it from a technical level, and not like, oh, this is so popular so it's good, that kind of thing. I've heard people say like, no, this is legit good. It wasn't for me. That's all it really is. That's all it boils down to.
That like, if you don't like the game, that means you hate it, right? That's the way it works. You either like it or hate it.
Yeah, it's literally the worst thing. It's literally Hitler, and anybody else who disagrees with you is the worst person in the world, and you have to fight in the comments section. That's how it goes.
I better let you move on before I let you dig this hole any deeper.
Okay, well, speaking of fighting in the comments section and fighting in general, Mortal Kombat 11 is announced coming to the Switch. So they dropped a reveal trailer at the VGAs for it, and once again, it's a reveal trailer. It's not gameplay. It just showed Scorpion and Raiden, whatever we want to call him now. Boy, this is weird for me. I can talk about that later. But Raiden fighting each other, and it was set to like this really terrible music. Like a minute in, it kicks in this like.
Oh my god! So I wasn't the only one. Yes, I remember.
Okay.
Like, was it some sort of rap or something that it kicked into? Like,
It was, yeah. And go ahead. I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, this music just did not like suit at all. Like, I was all on board. Like, the game starting up, I'm like, oh cool, a new Mortal Kombat. This looks really cool. And then the music kicked in, and all of a sudden, like, my face just kind of dropped. I was just like, what is this? What am I watching? Like, did the same person pick this music that it would like? Did they have like their grandson who's like really into rap music? Oh, I don't even know what this is. Like, just kind of go, oh, this is the hot stuff at the moment. You've got to get this into the game, and then like that. So they've thrown it in here, and it just does not suit it at all. It just feels like someone's dubbed over it on YouTube and uploaded it. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. So I had the biggest problem with it because it didn't fit. Like, if this kind of music, even though it's like not. I'm not really interested in this very specific type of rap, which sounds very lazy to me. It like the beat is lazy, the rapping is lazy, the lyrics aren't great. I'm a big fan of hip hop and rap, I really am. But like this type of like I don't know, late 2000s, early 2010 rap is so lazy sounding, and I hate it. It's I don't know, not hate. Okay, I'm speaking with hyperbole right now. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
So it's just not for me. I just don't. There's so many more interesting musics happening in the world, right? So anyway, this music didn't fit the trailer at all, and I was like, what is going on? But anyway, I was on Twitter just a bit after that, and somebody uploaded a few screenshots of the actual game, which I think I retweeted, so you can check out my Twitter to see those screenshots. And it looked really good. I was like, oh, awesome. And there's color in it. Like, in the reveal trailer, there was some color happening. But in the screenshots that I've seen, there was quite a lot, actually. So I'm very hyped for that. I'm hoping it's not like a whole bunch of doctored screenshots. It could be. But regardless, it looks like more color than MK10. And I played MK10 for a little bit, which was on PS4 and Xbox and PC. And that game was so much fun. It was so much more my speed compared to the couple of Mortal Kombats that came before that. And I felt like, oh, this is like a return to form for people like me. Don't exactly know what that means, but like somebody who hasn't been playing Mortal Kombat in the later years but has played in all of the earlier years, 10 was totally for me. Only complaint was the visual style didn't have enough color for me. Looks like MK11 is going to have some color, so I'm pretty optimistic about this release. And I mean, it's been forever since a Mortal Kombat game has been on Switch or been on a Nintendo console. I want to say the last Mortal Kombat game we've seen is I think the Wii. The Wii had had something on there that wasn't well received, I believe. But I could be wrong, but I want to say it was something to do with like Frost or maybe Sub-Zero. I don't know. Anyway, Mortal Kombat come back to Nintendo's consoles. It's great to hear all these old long-standing series coming back to Nintendo.
Yeah, well, I'm not really one to judge Mortal Kombat because honestly, I don't think I've played one since maybe like I don't even know whether it was GameCube, but it just feels like I played one on the GameCube that had like a bit of a story mode or something to it.
There was, yes.
Yeah, and so like, I feel like that was the last one that I played that isn't me just going back and playing like old retro Mortal Kombat games. So I'm not one to really judge any of the recent games, but I'm excited just to give this one a go. But like again, a hype trailer is there to get me hyped for a game, but the gameplay is what I need to actually sell me on the game.
Hard same. Totally agree. So a trailer that we did get that we did see lots of gameplay of was a trailer that absolutely nobody was expecting. And man, does it feel good to just be surprised out of left field with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 exclusively on Switch. How weird is this?
I definitely wasn't expecting this. Like, this is just out of nowhere for me.
Totally.
I haven't played any of the old Marvel Alliance games.
You're kidding.
No, I know. I hate myself. I feel like I need to kind of continue on this kind of hate train with everyone with me and just kind of give myself a little bit of background here why like I think I might have to let you take this one away. And that's because like DC and Marvel and any of those type of comic things, they weren't huge in Australia. And so like my exposure to all of these things has become like when I've come online and see what other people say about them. And like I didn't even, like to give a kind of, I don't know, a bit of idea here of where I sit. I didn't even know that there was like a Marvel and a DC and a difference between them until like, I don't know, probably I was 20 years old, which is like actually a long time ago now, but like it, like my whole childhood, I didn't know there was a difference between these two. And then like to me, that there was a Batman and there was like maybe a Superman, and that's all I knew. And so like trying to get into these new games, there's been very much and new movies and this new lore and everything that's kind of just going around them. It's been like really exciting because they do a fantastic job with them. But it's definitely something that I haven't had that childhood grow up with this and learn everything about it, exposure to.
That's a very interesting story that I'm sure all of our comic book fans that are listening, they're probably cringing and chipping teeth right now listening to what you have to say. That's like us hearing like somebody referred to all video game consoles as Nintendos or Nintendos or something like that. No Nintendos on the TV.
Oh, it's so bad. Like it literally is the way it was over here, and the fact is, it's not even like just the way it completely was over here. Like I still know lots of Australians who grew up with comic books and everything like that, but definitely wasn't around my neighborhood.
Gotcha. So for me though, this is okay. So I of course have played the Ultimate Alliance games on PS3. I want to say is where I played them. I played them to death with friends. It was so much fun to just sit there with like 2 or 3 other friends and just play a bunch of overpowered heroes and run around, you know, like a dungeon crawler kind of game. And just, it wasn't dungeon crawler, but I mean, it was top down. It gave me feelings of like Gauntlet Legends when I was younger.
To intersect here, is this like the gameplay? Like it's kind of hard to see exactly what it is when you've never played one of these before. Is it like just the first glance of it? It's like to me it looked like Diablo with less loot, or like a Warriors games with less enemies. I was just trying to work out exactly how this kind of game plays.
So yeah, this is what's very interesting, right? So all right, to roll into that, I'm gonna set it up, right? So first off, this game got announced. I was like, this is weird and wild. Even weirder is that it is being developed by Team Ninja. Team Ninja is the developers behind Dead or Alive video games, Ninja Gaiden, Neo, Hyrule Warriors, Fire Emblem Warriors, and Nintendo is publishing this game. So initially I was like, why? Why is this an exclusive game? Why isn't this a multi-plat game? This is so strange. This doesn't make sense. But then when I looked just a tad bit into it and I noticed who the developer, who the publisher was, I realized, okay, Nintendo must have just bought the rights to make this game. It wasn't like a game that was being made and then Nintendo bought the rights to, or a game that was being made and they wanted to make it for Nintendo Switch or whatever, no matter how much PR they want to spin that at you or whatever. What probably happened, well, of course it's not confirmed or anything, what probably happened in my logical brain that's going on up here is that Nintendo bought the rights to make another entry in this series from Marvel, and then they made the developers, contracted the developers, I suppose, if that's the right word, be Team Ninja to make this game. So that's why you're kind of getting like feelings of like Warriors-esque vibes.
I was going to say that definitely makes sense to me now. So like is this a bit more of a Bayonetta 2 type of situation then, where the game wouldn't have happened without Nintendo actually publishing and deciding for it to happen in the first place?
So yes, in terms of like development, it looks like that is the case to some degree. It's not like this game never would have happened. Like maybe it would have happened sometime down the future because it's a Marvel property. With Bayonetta 2, it was like people didn't believe in the brand so much, so Nintendo funded it when partial development was already happening. So with this game, I don't think that, well, this is all speculation right here. I don't think that this game was like being developed or something like that, because the development team is a Japanese developer when the first two games were Western made, if I remember. They definitely weren't made by Team Ninja. So that's the really strange thing that I want to like bring out about this game. I'm very excited for the game, but like Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 were made by totally different developers, totally different publishers, of course, and now the third one is being published by Nintendo, made by Team Ninja. On paper, this should be a freaking disaster. This should be like, why the hell are they making a third entry in a series that looks like it's going to be not scrapping, but like spitting in the face of like those first two games? But my opinion on that matter is that, okay, it's Team Ninja who has a good track record in my opinion, and it's Nintendo who has a good track record in my opinion. I have faith in this project, even though it is so weird. It is so weird. Like, I still can't get over like what a weird timeline we are in that this exists. So to go all the way back to your question that you were saying, what kind of gameplay is this? The first two games were more of like a Diablo style gameplay, but not about loot. It was more like Gauntlet Legends on the 64, if you ever played that.
Yep.
It was just run around, top down view, beating up bad guys, using lots of spells, leveling up, and getting new skills. Just good old fun. Lots of flashy attacks. So perfect for Team Ninja because they kind of specialize in things like that. So this game looks like it's a bit more, the camera angle, the viewpoint is a bit more lower, a bit more akin to a Hyrule Warriors or something like that, but not exactly. It's sort of in between those two things. So I'm very interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, given the track record of Team Ninja, I'm definitely I'm excited to see what kind of they can do with this game, especially since it seems to be the type of game, by the way you're describing it and the gameplay that I've seen, that does have that potential to kind of have lots of cool skills and lots of interesting combat to it.
Oh, totally. And like all those characters, I mean, there's so much history there with all of those characters, and they're beloved by so many people. They're all up in the Marvel cinematic universes right now, so they're on the forefront of everybody's mind. This is a really good win for Nintendo, but it is still strange. I don't know how I feel about like console exclusives that don't have to be console exclusives. I don't know if that's necessarily good for the video gaming industry, but whatever, it's happening. So either way, I'm excited for this game. I hope that there's going to be more X-Men in it though, because I only see like one or two in the trailer, but I only watched the trailer like once or twice, and I'm hoping, because I like Marvel, but the X-Men are my real jam. Inside of Marvel is the X-Men bubble, and that's what I really want to see more of. So please, more X-Men and X-Men for Smash.
Yes, as someone who's like outside of that, the bubble of like just knowing about all this stuff is still huge. Like Marvel is just big now, and it's everywhere, and like everybody knows about it. That's part of the reason I know so much about it now. It's just because it's so big and everywhere. So like this is definitely a big win for Nintendo to have this coming out on their system.
And just a little stinger at the end, something to make you listeners think about this and rattle it around in your brains. Do you think that they're going to have Samus and Link playable in this game like they were supposed to be back on the first game, which came out on the Wii? Did you know about this, Eric?
I had no idea. Oh, yeah, that's really cool. I hope they do something like this.
So they even had, I don't know if they were fully playable, but they were fully modeled, and they had some animation. So they clearly stopped, 2/3 through development maybe, when they were making Samus and Link, and they were supposed to be playable with the Marvel heroes in Ultimate Alliance 1, which came out on the Wii. So let's see if they do something cool like that. Yeah, I hope they do.
Like, not to get people hyped up, but I definitely would expect something.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exclusive, so like, why not? It's not just like it's a multi-plat and they're trying to entice a third party to like do something on their system. It's like a full-on exclusive. So I don't know. Not to say that I am expecting that, but just I'm like the step below expecting, if there's a word for that. I'm hoping I'm hoping based on some history. All right, that's where
Right.
I'm at. Yeah. So speaking of comic books, moving into our next story, the Joker from Marvel is now in Nintendo Smash Brothers.
I'm glad you like you gave me that kind of the Joker from Marvel there because like uh, so when you said the Joker you said to me during like I think it was last night over Skype you're just like the Joker is in Smash Brothers and I'm like hold on the Joker like as in the Joker and like I couldn't wrap my head around where like why is the Joker coming into Smash and then
Okay, so
like
keep
first
going,
of all,
keep
obviously not
going.
Marvel, but yeah, like obviously, then like eventually I kind of realized, oh, he's talking about Persona 5. Like, cause like, I jumped on Twitter, started seeing these articles coming up everywhere. I was like, he's not talking about any type of comic book Joker at all. He's talking about from the Persona series, and it started clicking. But like, I was so confused at first. I did not know where you were going with this.
Perfect. Mission accomplished. Because I wanted to throw like 5 or 6 absurdities into one sentence so that way you'd be like, what? No, that's wrong. That's wrong too. Ah, nerd rage.
Oh my god! Like I couldn't. Like first of all, like it's so hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that there's, as I said before, there's DC and these Marvel characters, and then all of a sudden, like you're throwing different characters from different universes, and then nothing to even do with them into like Persona. I was so confused for a second there, but I feel like I've unfolded that partly now.
Yes, yes. So to bring our listeners up to speed here, the Joker is not from Marvel. The Joker is from DC. Also, he is not in Smash. Also, it's called Super Smash Brothers, not Nintendo Smash Brothers. Uh, Joker, your main protagonist from Persona 5, is the first DLC character that has been announced for not Nintendo Switch, Super Smash Brothers. See, I'm screwing myself up. I've broken myself with that. So all of you people getting angry at the nerd rage, you can feel a little bit more justification that I hurt myself too with that sentence. So Joker from Persona 5. How about this? We totally did not see any of this coming. This was yet another out of left field announcement. Once again, like I'm always excited to hear something that we didn't get little inklings of in the beginning. Oh, hey, inkling. Uh, just like some sort of a little whisper of that, and like it ends up being like half true or whatever. This was out of nowhere, and it just made me realize that God, yes, I want Gino in Smash, of course. God, yes, I want him in Smash. But despite all of that, please surprise me with these announcements that are just crazy and weird, Nintendo. Please.
You know what? So the best thing about this is that one, it's possible that Persona 5, there's some sort of version that could be in the works for Switch. I'm
Yes.
sure we'll get into that in a second, but like that to me is really exciting. But the other thing that's really, really exciting, and the big thing that I take away from this is that Sakurai has left Nintendo to decide on the 5 characters that they're going to bring over as part of this DLC pack. This now, I don't think Piranha Plant was Piranha Plant the first of the 5? I don't remember. Anyway, even if Piranha Plant was one of the 5, there's still 4 more here or 3 more now, and Nintendo seems to be kind of not just going, we're going to push our new game. Like, here's our new Fire Emblem game. Here's our new Fire Emblem character. They seem to be reaching out and going for like these unexpected angles, which is I'm loving that thing, and makes me have more trust in Nintendo to choose these characters.
Oh, absolutely. And that is exactly where I thought they were going to go with this. I thought they were going to choose, and maybe they still will, but I thought they were going to choose their new Fire Emblem character from when they announced, the new Fire Emblem, more details and stuff. And I was going to be like, okay, cool. Like, as cool as that character could be, I was just going to be like, oh, what, the 40th freaking Fire Emblem character for this? Like, I like Fire Emblem, but just chill out on that, Like, I don't know.
We do not need another Fire Emblem character. Like, I love my Fire Emblem, but we do not need another Fire Emblem character. That's why I'm so glad that they're kind of going with this, and that really, really makes me excited to be like, if they can whip out of nowhere Piranha Plant as a character, and then we can get like the Joker as a character. Who else can we possibly like? There's just no boundaries left of like who can be
totally.
a character anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think both of those characters are perfect representations of, okay, here is like the dumbest character, the most nobody freaking character. He's a jobber enemy. Like, who are we going to announce next? Goomba? Whatever. Look at his moveset. He looks awesome. And he's got little feet. He's got little feet that come out of his pot. That's Piranha Plant for us. Then we got all the way on the other side of the spectrum, but still just as ridiculous, is this guest character from a game that is actually on PlayStation 4 and 3, and the character only appears in like a spin-off game on the 3DS that like just came out in Japan only. It's coming to the West a little bit later. But like just somebody that like feels like, okay, they definitely should be in Smash, but like as an item, and then okay, they definitely shouldn't be in Smash, but my god, is this cool, and he's a fighting character. It's just two wild decisions that I think show the forward momentum or the forward path of the new Smash, where it's like anything frickin' goes. Anything super dumb or anything super cool, it's all here. Everyone is here. All the dumb ones, all the cool ones.
So there's a couple of things with this. The first one is this the first Smash character that we've actually seen announced without a moveset trailer? So you know, like every Smash character gets announced, they show the trailer for the character with a big hype up trailer and show the moveset and everything else that's going on with that character. So this feels to me like they've announced a character and actually have a trailer for the character, but then I feel like they still got to have a second trailer now for this to show the moveset and the full kind of, here is the full hype trailer.
That's a great question. It may be the first character to be announced like that. Like clearly it was announced because of the Video Game Awards, right?
Exactly.
Otherwise they probably wouldn't have announced him like this. That said, I think that that's forgivable, but I do think that you are onto something. Perhaps this is the only character that doesn't have a moveset. Or I mean, wasn't announced with a moveset.
Yeah, that's just like my takeaway from after watching the trailer, because then it just made me think back to all the other Smash trailers for characters. I'm like, hold on, everyone gets a trailer with a moveset, but this just doesn't. And the other question is the obvious one that everyone's kind of asking here is, are we getting Persona 5? Does this mean that Persona 5 is coming to Switch? And I'm wondering where you kind of stand on this, Oni.
So far, like, no main Persona games have been on Nintendo consoles. They've all been on PlayStation. I don't think for any reason in particular. It's just that when Persona 1 came out, that was when a lot of Japanese developers were developing on the PlayStation because the 64 was out, and you know, Nintendo was doing a chokehold on a lot of the third-party developers at the time, and they didn't have a whole lot of competition in a lot of territories. So I don't think that there's any particular reason that it's like PlayStation exclusive, but all of their other series are all over the place. Like they're on Xbox, they're on Nintendo consoles. Shin Megami Tensei in particular, the main series for Atlus for this, I don't know what to call it, this main like storyline that they do. That game nowadays seems to be on Nintendo consoles primarily or almost exclusively, though it hasn't always been that way. So I don't see any reason why not Persona 5 couldn't be on the Switch. That was, sorry, a really long answer. So I don't know, hopefully that game is really good. From what I have heard, I have not played it yet. I know that that's crazy. I have a bit of a history on, like, I was super hyped for it. They delayed it, and then like my hype died down during that final delay, and then I got it, and I just still haven't put it in the freaking PlayStation and played it. So anyway, I hear that game is just like nonstop craziness, nonstop awesome RPG goodness. So I've played other Persona games and they've been fantastic. I have no doubt that this one is fantastic. Nintendo Switch owners should get the chance to experience it. That is my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't got around to playing it either. But where I kind of stand on this one is that I see a lot of people saying that, well, you know, Snake and Cloud didn't get their own games coming across. There wasn't a Final Fantasy VII announcement, which there actually was now, isn't there? I guess. Was it Final Fantasy VII? Yeah, 7, 8, and 10.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, God, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. There's so many Final Fantasy games coming out. I can't keep track of them all. But I think there is now with Cloud, but then also Snake. Like, you know, we didn't get a Metal Gear game announced or anything like that. But the thing we got to remember is that the whole thing with Smash coming out is that they're bringing back every character, and so like these are just part of the characters that they're bringing back. I think, which is why we didn't see a new announcement. Where I think that the fact that we're seeing some sort of announcement of the Joker being a character in Smash means there's got to be some sort of something in the works there for Nintendo. I don't imagine Nintendo just wanting to reach out to other developers who don't have something, you know, to give back to them, something that they're working together with. To me, that just feels like, well, we're just doing a service for them in that case, which, like, I'm sure Nintendo wants some sort of shaking of hands there. So I don't know what it could be. It could just be this 3DS game that you're mentioning, but I'd certainly hope that this means something more for Persona 5 on Switch, because it's a massive game, and I really think it's a type of game that a lot of people, myself included here, really should get their hands on and try if they're into these JRPGs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that, in some contracts somewhere, things like this are written down, like, okay, we must cross-promote this and that kind of thing. And especially with Shin Megami Tensei 5 coming to the Switch exclusively, I believe, that's coming out who knows when, I would not be surprised to see things like cameos from some of the other big Atlus IPs, because Persona, right, is a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei main series. And in, I think, Shin Megami Tensei 3, there was Dante from Devil May Cry that appeared as like a bonus, like cross-promotion bonus. So it's not like they haven't done that kind of thing before, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some characters who are really popular, like Joker from P5, to appear in Shin Megami Tensei 5 as like a little bonus, little side quest kind of thing. I really like the crazy weird stuff that Atlus does with demons, so I'm really looking forward to whatever they might be bringing over. I hope that what they're doing is bringing over 3 and 4 in HD onto the Switch. Just like put it all on there. Just give me all of it, because they're all really good and they're all wacky. Let us experience it.
I'm on the same boat as you, and I'm just going to leave my thoughts on that there is going to be a Joker amiibo, which everyone should be excited for.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a Joker amiibo! My god, I didn't even think about that! Oh yeah, I am so excited about that now. Oh man. Oh man. Oh, you blew my mind. Oh, it's blowout. That's a good blowout right there. That's a good mind blow.
Your reaction right now, I'm glad I got to do this to you, because that was me when I saw someone. This isn't my original thought. I saw someone write this. There's going to be a Joker amiibo, and I was just like, oh my god, they're right.
Yeah, can you like hear or see the cogs like turning that haven't been turning for a while? Like the cogs of excitement.
I can see the spider webs breaking off the cogs as they turn around.
Yeah. All right, so that pretty much does it for the biggest parts of the news. There was, of course, lots of other news you can check out on our website for more details and whatnot. So let's go on to a question that we received from a listener last week that we couldn't get to because we ran out of time. So he sent us an email. If you have an email that you would like to send us, you can always send us an email at nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com. What's that email, Eric?
That is nintendoeverythingpod@gmail.com.
And your email might sound a little something like this. Mr. Kazuo writes, "The 20 questions bit was pretty interesting and fun, by the way. I'd like to see more things like that in the future." Thank you, Kazuo. So my question for this week will be about Ultimate. He means Smash Ultimate, in case you haven't heard. As the release date draws near, well, that was last week. His question is...
Sorry, Kazuo.
Sorry, Kazuo. Who do you plan on using as your main, and who is your favorite newcomer and why? Great question. Thank you, Kazuo. Take it away, Eric.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had to really apologise about last week. I ran way overboard with my schedule. I meant to fit this question in there, and I really wanted to, but I'm glad we could still fit it in this week because we haven't actually played the game yet, so it's a good chance to fit this question in. Now, the two questions that we kind of had there, one, who's going to be my main? Well, in the past, like, first of all, I don't I probably haven't had a main since like Nintendo 64 Smash Brothers. So saying my main in this new one's kind of like, oh, I don't really know. I didn't play that much of the other two. I played them, but like not as like a serious hardcore. I'm really getting into this, and I play a lot of it. It was just a casual, every now and then party game type thing. So it wasn't something that I ever really picked up a main on. So if I'm going to go back to my N64 roots, I would probably go with Pikachu as my main. But like coming back to the future now, I think I might change over to Ken. Like for me, I like playing fast-paced characters. I like not giving my opponent time to think and just kind of just staying in their face. And so playing characters like Ken or Pikachu or anything like that is definitely kind of where I'm at with my main characters. How about you?
So for my main, in Smash 4, my main was Zero Suit Chun-Li, Zero Suit Samus. So we'll see how she plays, because like every character has had some tweaks. The game feels very different compared to Smash 4. So we'll see if she's still the real deal for me, and if she's my main squeeze. And yeah, time will tell on that. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, she was one of my like favorite new edition characters, as far as like, even though it's just kind of a bit of a suit change and stuff like that. Like, I liked the way that she played up, because she was quite fast paced as well, wasn't she?
Yeah, totally fast paced. I love that about her. That's why like, and she did so many kicks. That's why I call her Zero Suit Chun-Li. And
Yeah, that's right.
It just I don't know. I have like a soft spot in my heart for ladies like that. I don't know.
So, what about your newcomer then? Who's your favorite newcomer?
It is so hard to choose, especially with the announcement of Joker from Persona 5. But again, we haven't seen anything on him yet, so I'm not going to choose him. I am very excited for Richter, Richter Belmont. I love all of the attacks that I've seen in the trailers of him, and he looks like he could potentially be just absolutely nasty and just absolutely disgusting with all of these different moves and different projectiles that he has for like mid-range, and then his whip. Like, it looks like there's really good range on that, so I'm excited for him. Ken is another one, because I like Ryu's fighting style, but Ken looks like he's just the right tweaks in the directions that I usually like. But the other one that I'm very, very intrigued to check out is Dark Samus, because I like Samus, of course. I don't care for regular Samus's moveset too much, so I'm excited to see what tweaks they make with Dark Samus. So probably, though, out of those three, I'm gonna say that Richter is my favorite newcomer, but I haven't tried him yet, so I don't know. How about you?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, like, it was 1, not 3. You big cheat. And
I don't care. I'm gonna talk about Smash all day long. I don't care. Fight me.
And second of all, I think mine would probably have to be, like, as interesting as those three are. First of all, like, I'll go Simon over Richter. I don't know why. And maybe just because my heritage. I like Simon, but it's a classic character. I don't know. This is all so confusing for me. But my favorite newcomer is definitely going to be King K. Rool. He was so unexpected.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I didn't see King K. Rool coming, and then all of a sudden we got King K. Rool, and like, he's just one of those over the top characters that is like. He kind of reminds me a little bit of King DDD. King D. Like, there had to be that big pauses between each D then?
Yes,
King
yes.
DDD.
No, that was right. King DD.
However I said that. Like, they're just kind of over the top, almost in a flamboyant type of way, and just funny to kind of be... Like, just funny to look at as a character, and then like they managed to introduce this really interesting moveset from like his past games, like the cannon that he shoots and all that type of stuff, and like throwing his crown. I love that idea, and so like part of it is a nostalgia play because always loved him as a character, and part of it is they actually did this, they put him in a game, and part of it is just a cool moveset. So like he's definitely my favorite newcomer.
Yeah, I love that he is in this game. I don't think I'm going to actually enjoy playing as him. So that was sort of the way I was taking Kazuo's question, is like, who's your favorite newcomer that you're going to think about playing? But I guess I made that up in my head. So
if we're talking playing wise, definitely Simon. I reckon Simon will be my favorite newcomer that I'm looking forward to playing, because just like you said, the moveset looks really interesting. And so I think he's something that I could get more into, much more than King K. Rool. Like, I always hated playing as like Donkey Kong or Bowser or like D for that matter. But yeah, like that's where I kind of stand on those. Like the bigger characters have always been so clunky and to me, where like the faster, smaller characters or those with longer range movesets are a bit more interesting.
Yeah, and I really like those big, doofy characters like King DDD and King K. Rool, which I only just made the connection just now that they both start with King.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right? Weird. I do like both of those characters because they're goofy. They're super goofy, but I don't care for their playstyle. It's just not me.
Yeah, same. Like, that's definitely where I sit on them. In fact, I like them being in there too because like they're an easy punching bag in some of the matches. So that's one reason I like having them in there.
That's true. You get to hit them a little bit more. They don't go flying so far. So speaking of that kind of thing, I did want to mention how like everything feels different. Everybody's got little different changes. Everything feels like more meaty. Like I only played like a couple of matches, like just to kind of get a feel for it so I could mention something on the podcast here. And I had to sort of bring myself back to my headspace of when Smash was initially announced for Switch. And I was of the camp that like, oh, it's probably going to be some sort of like updated port. And we thought it was going to be like, maybe Smash 4.5. After a little bit more details came out, more people were like, oh yeah, Smash 4.5. This game has actually become like the furthest thing from a port that it could be while still being sort of a port. It's like Smash 4.9 in my opinion. And I think that it is just so amazing how many changes have gone into this game and how many additions have gone into this game from its, younger older brothers. I don't know. It's like an older brother, but they're way smaller, right? On the 3DS and on the Wii U. So I'm just very, very excited about this game, even though it's already finally here and it's in my hands kind of thing. I really applaud all of the hard work that they put into making this very much its own game, very much worth the repurchase. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I get where you're coming from. Because back then, like, we're all wondering the same thing. But now, like, if I'm going to be fair to myself here, when I played Splatoon 2 to Splatoon 1, and I call Splatoon 2 not 1.9 or 1.5, I call it Splatoon 2. And that game, to me, is less of a sequel than what this Smash Ultimate is. This game has so much extra stuff. There's so much going on that, like, really, Splatoon 2, the main thing it had going, apart from, like, the new area and stuff like that and new maps, was that it had, like, it's, what do you call it? The Salmon Run? Yeah, that's what it's called. The Salmon Run mode
best
added to
mode.
it as well.
Absolutely best mode. I love that mode.
I love that mode. I know. But, like, if I can call Splatoon 2 a sequel, and which I do consider a sequel, like, as far as the people who, consider like they didn't add enough to it, if I can call that a sequel, then I can just call this definitely a sequel. This isn't Smash 4.5 or 4.9. This is definitely, is that what we're up to? Yeah, 5. This is definitely the next game in this series in general. Like, this is not just a part game. It may be bringing back all the characters and maybe bringing back all the stages, but that doesn't mean it can't be its own new game. And that's definitely what it feels like. And I did manage to play a little bit of it as well. And my impressions, it simply goes from playing maybe 20 minutes of the Spirits board mode or something like that. And God, that mode is hard to put down. So I didn't play the map. I haven't got any spoilers here for the world map of you. That's not what I played. I played the board mode where you kind of just select the stickers and you versus stickers and then you unlock stickers to be a part of you. So I played that mode of it, and I am so good at explaining things. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm versing these stickers, and every time that you beat one and some new ones come up, it's just like, okay, I just wanted to play a little bit of this to get an idea for the podcast, and I'm just going to put it down now. And then all of a sudden, like, the Ramby sticker for Noggion Country would start to come up, and I'm just like, oh, well, I've only got 5 minutes to get the Ramby sticker. Obviously, I've got to do this battle. And then the Ramby sticker would go away. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, look at that weird Street Fighter character. I don't want to miss out on them. I better try that sticker at least while I'm here. And, like, it ended up me just sitting down for, like, a good 20 minutes when I meant to just, like, boot up and do one match. I just could not put that sticker mode down. So, like, my week is, like, is planned in this. I tell you what.
Nice. Yeah, I'm really excited to get stuck in on this. So you guys can look forward to next week when we go super in depth on our experiences with Smash for sure. And I'm sure we're going to talk about some other games as well, but Smash for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. In addition to the Smash and all that stuff coming up in our lives, what else is coming up in our lives in relation to Nintendo everything? Do we have anything coming up on the site on your end, Mr. Eric?
Okay, so I have a video, I don't know, it's in the works, it's coming up soon this week. I meant to have one kind of planned for this week, which I did get halfway through, and, like, I don't know, one of those things you get halfway through planning a video and then you realise, it wasn't working out the way I planned it wasn't going to look any good, and it wasn't going to feel the way I wanted to. It wasn't going to be something that's going to be proud to put up. So I scrapped that project, which means that I've got something else now planned to go up in the middle of next week, but it means you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for my next video, which I'm really sorry about, but still look forward to that one. And I think that's all I'm working on at the moment for myself. How about you?
Very cool. Before I go into what I am working on, you gave me a couple of tidbits about what you're working on, so I just have to say that you guys definitely want to look forward to it. I'm very excited and very much looking forward to your next video.
Thank you.
Yes. So for me, I am just finishing up here on this Phantasy Star interview, which is really crazy. They go so in depth. They even talk about coding in there, and, like, I don't understand coding in English, let alone Japanese. So I was really challenged to work on some of those sentences that they were talking about in this interview. It's so crazy how much I have learned about this game, and actually how much I have learned about, like, developing and porting and updating ports from certain hardware to newer hardware, retro hardware to modern hardware. It's really a fantastic interview. Finishing up on it, and once I finish it, then I'm going to do a good, okay, can't remember this word. What's the word we do after translation? Review and like touching it up.
I know where you're going, but like I'm not good with words either, so I'm gonna let you just kind of find your own way out of this ocean.
I'm jumping ship. I'm jumping ship right now. You can find me jumping ship on Twitter though, at Oni_Dino. You can find Eric on Twitter as well. Where can they find you on Twitter, Eric?
So you can find me at Nintendo Numbers. You can find the site Nintendo Everything at Twitter at Nin Everything. Of course, you can go and you should visit the website, and that is don't type in at nintendoeverything.com. Sorry, there is one more thing that I definitely should remind people of, and that is to escape from the master hand's 5 fingers. Make sure to leave us a 5-star iTunes review.
Oh yeah, you can't get away from those 5 fingers unless you give 5 stars on iTunes. And don't forget, we also have the YouTube. Promote the YouTube, Eric.
Oh yeah, you should probably follow the YouTube. That's pretty important, the thing that I actually do. So the YouTube, go to Nintendo Everything YouTube, search us up on YouTube, Nintendo Everything. I'm sure you will find me and my loud voice on there somewhere.
God, I feel like the host of the VGAs when he was talking to Phil Spencer trying to help him promote Xbox. Like Phil Spencer was not doing himself any favors there. And the host was like, don't you also have this coming out? And he's like, oh yeah, let me promote this, let me promote that.
That's it. It is definitely me. I'm a terrible job at promoting myself. That is a known fact.
You're your own worst enemy, Eric. You do lots of great content.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, check out the YouTube, check out our website. Lots more details over there about what we talked about and more. So for everything Nintendo, stay tuned to Nintendo Everything. Bye.
Bye-bye.